And welcome back to 2023 Big 12 Football Media Days presented by Old Trafford. Now on the stage, we have UCF coach Malzahn. Again, if you have a question, please make sure to raise your hand. Coach, we'll start with an opening statement.
All right. First of all, we're extremely excited to be here. This is a huge moment for our program to be a part of the Big 12, a lot of excitement. I brought 5 of our leaders with me today. First of all, our quarterback, John Rice Plumlee, a guy that I actually recruited out of high school. He went in the portal 2 years ago, transferred from Ole Miss, did a very solid job for us last year. He is in a great spot to take that next step, really as our team leader. Wide receiver, Javon Baker, a guy that also recruited out of high school that transferred from Alabama. He led us in receiving yards last year. I think he's set up to really have a big year. Offensive lineman, Lakahi Ole, is one of our leaders up front. He started, I think, 3 straight years, and this will be his 4th year. Just a phenomenal, tough leader for us. Defensive tackle, Ricky Barber, is a guy that transferred from Western Kentucky 2 years ago. He's had 2 phenomenal seasons. Really feel like he's got a chance to be one of the premier defensive tackles in the entire country. And then a defensive end, Josh Seliscar, that has also started. This will be his 4th year to start. He was one of our team captains last year and really does a super job as far as the leadership is concerned. As far as our roster, we returned 6 on both sides of the football. We have our kicker and our punter back, and both of those guys were phenomenal last year. We brought in 18 transfers, and most of these guys weren't just starters on their previous teams, but quite a few of them were impact players. So that quality depth that you really need when you go take the next step to another conference, really feel good about that, specifically on the O-line and D-line, which you can't have enough quality depth as far as that's concerned. As far as our staff, most of the guys on our staff have been with me a long time. Most of our staff, has been with me. We won championships and played at a high level in another conference in the Power 5. But overall, we're just blessed to be here. We're real excited about coming to this conference and playing a very challenging schedule.
Again, if you have a question, please make sure to raise your hand. When you're called on, please stand and state your name and affiliation.
Yes, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoma. Heard a lot about the excitement from. I'm curious what your level of excitement is just personally. Get ready to make this move, and you've obviously coached at the Power 5 level before. What do you anticipate being sort of the biggest challenges as the program?
Yeah. Well, first of all, for me personally, I'm very excited. This is a great conference, one of the best football conferences in college football, and probably the deepest from top to bottom. So I'm very excited about that. As far as challenging, the great thing, we've had over a year, almost a year and a half to get prepared for this moment. And, talking about having quality depth when you move up conferences and the leagues, and specifically on the O-line and D-line. And we've worked extremely hard. And I really feel like today, going into fall camp, that we do have quality depth on both lines of scrimmage. And that was really by design, and we really feel good about that. But just the overall excitement of the challenge of playing these great teams in this league is what's exciting for us.
All right, we'll go to the center in the back.
Matt Rochelle, the Orlando Sentinel. Gus, you've added Darren Henshaw to be your new offensive coordinator. What does he bring to the program, and how has he kind of been able to ingratiate himself to the offense that you want to run?
Yeah, I brought in Darren really to open up our offense, push the ball vertically down the field. We were a top 20 offense, overall in college football, but our yards per completion were really high, like 88th in the country, something like that. And then to develop our quarterback, specifically John Rice Plumlee, and he has done an unbelievable job. John Rice is like night and day to where he was at this time last year. And then he's one of the all-time greats, in UCF history. I think that's important. And he was with me the first year when I got this job off the field. So I know him well. He's a great person, and he was really the right fit for us.
We'll go center right, 4th row. You'll please stand.
Steve Helwick, SB Nation. Hi, Gus. The Big 12 is what UCF has wanted for a long time from a competition standpoint, but how do you view the move from a geographic standpoint, where you'll have to travel double the mileage in conference play this year, and there's not really a natural geographic rival within 12 miles driving distance?
Well, I think the biggest challenge we have is what you just said. We have 5 conference road games. The new kid on the block, we expected that. a lot of travel. As far as the prep before the game, it's not going to be that big of a deal. The big challenge will be if you play a night game and you get back and the sun's coming up, you're getting prepared for the next week. But that's something we'll adjust to. Like I said, it's like anything else. You adjust to it. And of course, next year we'll have 5 home games. So that'll be a game changer for us too.
There goes center, right in the back. Right here.
Cole Thompson, FanNation.com. Gus, good to see you and welcome to the Big 12.
Thank you.
When you look at the past couple winners that have been here in Arlington, Baylor was the preseason at number 8 in 2021. In 2022, TCU was 7th to finish in number 1. Do you think that it's not only the deepest conference, but also potentially the most open conference for a chance to come in right away and make an immediate impact?
Well, I think it is the deepest. I will say that. And, those two examples you just used is a great example of that. And matter of fact, our first conference game is on the road at Kansas State. That's no treat. And our first home conference game is Baylor, the last 2 champions. So, that's a huge challenge. But like I said, it's a deep conference. There's no, when you look at your schedule, there's no off weeks. You got to bring your A game every week. That's really what stands out to me coming in as a new kid on the block.
And if you have a question, please make sure to raise your hand. We'll go center left.
Hey guys, Colin Wilson with the Action Network. About a 31% blitz rate with a lot of success last year. Travis Williams moves on to Arkansas. Addison gets promoted up. Are we going to see the same amount of blitz, cover 3 quarters? Or are we going to have some different wrinkles in the defense?
Yeah, Addison Williams, he'll bring some different wrinkles. Addison was with me in my previous job when we played really good football. He is kind of one of those young, innovative guys. It's really going to be, our focus has been putting pressure on the quarterback. And of course, this league is one of the best offensive leagues, if not the best offensive league. So you will see some changes. You will see some unique pressures. But the bottom line, to have a chance to be a great defense, you got to be able to put pressure on the quarterback rushing forward. And we really feel like our roster, we've done a good job bringing in some and then developing and then recruiting. We got a freshman class coming in that has 3 defensive linemen that I think are going to be as good as any in the country in the future.
Go center right in the back.
Jamie Say, WKMG in Orlando. Gus, as you've scouted the teams in the Big 12, have you noticed certain characteristics about style of play in this conference and what generally it takes to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, great offense is what stands out to me first. And you got to play good defense or they'll run you out of town. And then the second thing that stands out to me is there is big-time coaching. I mean, there's some great coaches, not just head coaches. There's some great coordinators in this league too. So it's a really, really challenging league.
We'll go far back.
Hey, Gus, Alex Walker, Channel 9 in Orlando. You got a question earlier about it may be longer geographically to travel from Florida, but it's also an advantage, having Florida as the flagship school in the conference. How do you use being the only Florida school as an advantage at UCF?
Well, it's a huge advantage. I mean, now that we're in the Power 5, recruiting, we recruit against the 3 larger schools in the state, and it's been a game changer as far as that. And I really think the fan bases are going to really enjoy Orlando. I mean, there's not a better place in the country to live. Vacation. There's no NFL team. The best brands in the world are there, and we got a great environment as far as our bounce house and everything that goes with it. So I really feel like it'll be a great spot for opposing fans to come.
Far left, 4th row.
That's Kirk Bowles from the Austin American Statesman, to your left. You were in the SEC for a long time. I was curious to piggyback on the style question. There's similarities or contrast between life in the Big 12 as you predicted in your times in the SEC.
Yeah, well, to start with, the last 2 years I've Zoomed my media day. All right, so I feel more comfortable right here today. It's just the excitement of playing some of the best teams in college football week in and week out, and that grind that goes with it. That's what excites me, and just the profile of our program taking that next step. And so there's a lot of excitement. And like I said earlier, I think the best thing for us is we're not in a rush. We had time to prepare for this moment and building our roster and our staff and everything that goes with that. Terry Mahajer, our athletic director, is good at athletic director as there is in the country. And me and him have worked together strategically to get this moment. So we're really excited about it.
So center right in the back.
Hey, Coach. Faith Douglas from KLBK Sports. You mentioned that you're going to be traveling for a few of those conference games. Talk about what Joey Maguire's done at Lubbock, Texas, and how tough that game is going to be in Jones AT Stadium.
Yeah, well, Joe is one of my favorites. He's a former high school coach just like me. I used to recruit his high school. We know, each other well. He's a big-time coach, and he has that program really going the right direction. That's a tough place to play. It's about a 4-hour plane trip and all that. It's going to be late in the year, I believe, that we play him, but that'll be a challenge, but we're looking forward to it.
We'll go center to the forefront.
Gus, just curious your thoughts about being in the same conference as your former player, Dylan Gabriel, and what you saw from him last year.
Yeah, well, first of all, Dylan is a phenomenal player. That's what stands out. The year I had him, I wish he hadn't got hurt. I think it would have turned out a little different. But, every day in practice, he would do something, and you'd go, wow. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. We're playing against them, and, we're going to have to play really, really well in defense, anytime you're going against a great quarterback.
All right, we'll go to center back.
Coach Lynn Harrington with Stay Alive Power 5. How you doing today?
Great.
That's good. So for the first time in Big 12 history, the state of Florida, known as the Speedy State, is going to be, in the Big 12. How do you plan on taking advantage with that?
Well, I mean, we are fortunate to be in Florida. There's no doubt. Great place to recruit. I would say our overall team speed is definitely good. I think that is a big part of coaching a program in Florida, and we got to use that to our advantage. But I will say this: I mean, you turn on the film, these players in this conference, they got real speed too. And like I said, I mean, you're talking about some of the best teams in college football. As far as week in and week out.
The center, third row.
Coach James Secondly and Team White Right Son. You were known from your time at Arkansas and at Auburn for your hurry up, no huddle offense. With the rule changes concerning first downs and clock running, the last time they made a change like this was 2006, and all of a sudden running teams dominated.
Yeah.
Defensive stats went down because there were
Yeah.
longer possessions. Are you going to, or do you see yourself changing your approach as far as time of possession, playing with tempo because of the rule changes?
No, we're going to continue to put the hammer down. My first year in college football was 2006 when I was at Arkansas, when they implemented that rule. You're exactly right. That's what happened. But I think this change is not going to be that drastic. I mean, it may, limit a few plays a game, but I really don't think as of right now that's going to be that drastic. And we're planning on putting the hammer down and playing as fast as we can.
All right, we'll go center right, far back.
Right over here, Coach. Parker Ream with Fox 44 in Waco. Right back here.
Where we at?
Yep.
Okay.
Uh,
There you're standing up in the blue. Got you.
Yeah, right out in blue. Seems like it's really tough for people to see me back here. You talked about how deep this conference is and how good from top to bottom it is. What do you think UCF kind of brings to the table in adding to how deep that conference is?
Yeah, I really feel like we're a program that's on the rise. When I took this job, I really thought it was a gold mine. I mean, the potential, and I really felt strong that we would be in the Power 5 in a short period of time. I didn't know it was going to be in the Big 12, but just the potential, like I said earlier, in Orlando, best brands in the world, no NFL team. We have a young fan base. I think the average alumni graduate is 37, something like that. So the sky's the limit potential. We've got a very young, energetic fan base too. Social media oriented, which I think is huge for the future as far as NIL is concerned. So, I think it's a program on the rise. And like I said, we're blessed to be a part of this conference.
And final question, we'll go to center left, fourth row.
Coach Mac Engel, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. With college players now being paid and compensated, does that make them professionals, and should they be treated as such, or are they still kids?
We're just operating from the same standpoint other than they're getting NIL money. I mean, we're trying to keep the same philosophy with our players, relationship, pushing them, building that team, oriented locker room. And but I will say this: I mean, we're in probably the most unique time in the history of college football. In the last 2 years, college football has changed more than it probably has the last 50 years. I really believe the coaches that adapt, right, to the new age of college football is going to have an advantage, and that's what we've been trying to do. I'm 57 years old and I'm old school, but I've got to adapt, and I'm real excited, about coaching at this time.
Thank you for your time today, Coach.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me.
We'll have Texas Tech coach Joey Maguire on at 10:10. Again, just a few reminders. You can find transcripts from yesterday and today's press conference available at collegepressbox.com, big12sports.com, and the media Dropbox. And press conferences today are carried on Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus.